Alright, so we are going to be looking at the principles of art called emphasis and unity today. We're going to start off with emphasis, which is just kind of a fancy way of saying you draw the attention of the viewer of your artwork to one particular spot. You are trying to make the viewer look at that thing. And now normally you choose a thing that is your main subject. The highest interest part of your artwork should be the focal point that you're drawing everyone into. There are 5 different techniques, and they are illustrated in these 5 different boxes. So we are going to link these little arrows here up to the box. If the arrow is going the wrong direction, you can just click and drag across and release, and it'll be pointed in the correct direction, but the words still go the right way. So we can just put them back. So for unusual detail, unusual means something that doesn't fit, something that doesn't make sense with everything else that's going on in the picture. So if we look at these options here, well, this one's kind of different than everything else in the picture, and that one's different than everything else in the picture, and frankly, this circle here is different than all the rest of the lines in this picture, so really, this one could be any of those 3. So we're going to take and just kind of move that off to the side. We'll figure him out later. The next one says contrast. Contrast is when you look at 2 opposite things. So if you're comparing and you're looking through all of these different ones, which one of these pictures is showing one thing that is opposite everything else around it? Well, that's going to be this guy here, because this guy is different than these circles, but the smiley face is an opposite of blank face, whereas black and white are 2 opposite values. So for this one here, this black dot here is our point of emphasis. Now we can go down to placement. Placement is where you put something in a work of art, and if you want to draw everyone's attention, you're going to put it in the middle, in the center, to draw the most attention. So you can take and pull this guy over here, and that's going to be our point of emphasis for placement. The next one says isolation. That means keeping something all by itself, and the only one that has just a dot by itself is this guy here. We've got to change the arrow direction to point at our lovely little dot right there. And now we have unusual detail still left over and converging lines. And if we're looking at these last 2 pictures, well, this is the only one with lines. Converging just means all the lines come together at a point, and in this case, that point is our focal point. So this dot here is our focal point with these lines almost acting like arrows themselves, pointing your eye, telling you to go and look over there. And that means that our smiley face friend down here is our unusual detail. He's different and weird compared to everybody else around him. And that's the basics of emphasis. Now we are going to move on to unity. So now we're looking at the unity page right here. And all of these little dudes over here are going to be what we pull into each one of these 6 boxes to create a sense of unity. To create unity, you want to make things look like they go together. They belong together, they are similar, they make sense together, they have a theme or a genre or something else that unites them together. It's a way of making a bunch of different stuff in your artwork look like one cohesive piece of art as opposed to a bunch of random stuff. Each one of these here is a way of creating that unity. So you can do unity with color. So you want to have same or similar colors. So I can't put this orange next to this blue because those would be contrast. But I could put a blue next to a blue. If I wanted, I could do a giant blue next to a little blue. That part doesn't really matter. But it's a blue next to a blue. The color is the same. I'm just going to keep this guy over here because I'm not sure if I need him yet. Proximity is just a fancy word for how close or far away something is. If we're talking about unity, unity is togetherness. That can mean physically togetherness as well. So you're going to have 2 of these little dudes, and you're going to put them real, real close together. Now they look united because they are physically close. These 2 look more separate because there's space in between them. Next is texture. So we've got this texture dude here, but he doesn't have anything similar to him. Fun fact, smooth is a texture. So really, I can take 2 of these dudes, and now I have 2 smooth textures that are similar to each other. Ta-da! When I'm looking at shape, again, I want to say same or similar shapes. If I wanted, I could take the texture dude now and match him up to just like a regular guy. It's the same kind of a shape. However, technically this guy is actually a little bit larger, so I'm going to bop him back out here. And I'm going to grab just one that is the same exact shape as the other one. Again, I could use this one if I would rather, because it's not the color that's important now, it's the shape. But if you're using one technique of unity, you might as well use two techniques of unity and have unified color and shape. This next one down here is value. So we have like white is a value, black is a value, gray is a value. But you want values that are similar or close to each other. So white and black don't really work because those are opposite values. So we want to pull these grayscale ones down. And they even go with the gray in the background around them to make a very similar united look. The last one is scale, so maybe it's my big friend here, except if I did this guy and this guy, they don't look like they go together because they have two different sizes. So to keep the scale the same, we just use two that are the same shape, or two that are the same size, I mean. Alright, and those are your notes for emphasis and unity.